Okay, just to quickly review what we saw the other day. This is where this Maamar is starting to come together. The Rebbe explained that there are three levels of chidush, of innovation, of revolution that happened on Matan Torah. Because the giving of the Torah involved three parties. There was Hashem, the giver of the Torah, the Jewish people, the receivers of the Torah, and then the Torah itself, the thing that was being given. All three of them were revolutionized at Matan Torah. How so? Hashem was revolutionized, as it were, on Matan Torah. How could Hashem be revolutionized? That at the giving of the Torah, Hashem introduced the entire giving of the Torah with the word Anochi, which stands for Ani Ano Nafshi Ksav V'Sichavis, that I've written and given my very soul in the Torah. Which means that at the giving of the Torah, Hashem was giving himself over to the Jewish people. So before that, his essence was somewhat removed from the world. At the giving of the Torah, he gave his very essence, his very self, to the Jewish people. So he was given over to the Jewish people. That's what happened to Hashem at the giving of the Torah. What happened to the Jewish people? They were given the power of psak halacha, of deciding what the halacha is. That before the giving of the Torah was in the heavens, and the heavens decided what halacha was. After the giving of the Torah, human beings, people down here, we decide halacha. It's not in heaven anymore. So we were given the power of psak halacha, of deciding Torah. So that's the revolution that happened to the Jewish people. We became the deciders of Torah. And what about Torah itself? What changed in Torah itself? After giving the Torah itself was given the power that it can determine reality. The way Torah says is the way the world is. That Torah is not just an instruction to tell you what you should do. Torah, by the Torah being given, you are given the power to do it. Like we saw the example of lo signoif. The Torah says you should not steal, or lo sirtzach, you should not murder. So the actual grammar of that commandment in the Aseres HaDibros is not just a commandment, you should not murder. It's you will not murder. Lo signoif is not just you should not steal, it's you will not steal. The Torah, when the Torah was given, it made the reality that you don't steal. Are you going to see people do steal? Okay, people go against reality. People go against nature. People do things that are completely irrational. But when the Torah was given, the commands of the Torah are also statements of reality. Torah determines reality. You don't steal. You don't do that. It's not something you don't do. This is true not only of when the Torah is given, but every time the Torah is learned. Every time we learn Torah, we reinforce reality to align to Torah. And so we said the example, it says in the Torah, when you learn the laws of treifus in animals, which is treif and which is not treif, you separate out holiness from the profane. It actually affects the world. And certainly this is even more so in mitzvahs. When you do a mitzvah, after giving of the Torah, when you do a mitzvah, that actually brings holiness to the world. If learning Torah can do this, so certainly doing a mitzvah, doing an act, brings holiness to the world, actually impacts and changes the world. That's the revolution that happened to Torah after Matan Torah. Now we're going to go to Zion, where the Rebbe explains this further. This is what our sages, it says in the Medrash, on the pasuk from Shir HaShirim. It says, L'reach shmanecha tovim, shemen turach shmecha. The pasuk says that the scent of your oil is good, and oil has been poured for your name. There's the scent of the oil is good, and oil has been poured for you. This verse in Shir HaShirim is, what's it talking to? What's it talking about? Kol HaShirim she'amru l'fanecha avos reiches hayu. Says the Medrash. What this is referring to is it's talking to Hashem and saying that there was the scent of your oil, that was good, but then oil itself was poured. Which means that all the songs that the forefathers sang before you were a scent. They were like a scent of something, a smell, a whiff. Aval anu shemen turach shmecha. But when we do mitzvah, when we sing songs to you, it is like pouring the oil itself. Like somebody who pours oil from one vessel to another. Okay, continuing. Sit in the medrash. All the mitzvahs that the forefathers did before you were a scent. They were a smell, a whiff. But we pour oil for you. We actually give you oil. We have the oil. So a little bit of a mysterious medrash. That the medrash here says that this verse that talks about the scent of the oil and then the oil itself is referring to the forefathers as opposed to us. The forefathers who lived before the Torah was given, they learned Torah, they did mitzvahs. But the songs they sang, which means the Torah they learned, and the mitzvahs they did, the good deeds they did, they were just a scent, a whiff, a fragrance. But we have the oil itself. What is it saying? It's saying what we've been discussing until now. That the forefathers also learned Torah and did mitzvahs. But the impact that had was like a fragrance. It wasn't like completely solid. It didn't actually impact the world. It was like a more spiritual thing. Like a smell is a spiritual thing. So their mitzvahs, their Torah was a spiritual thing. It didn't physically impact the world. Whereas we have the oil, which is an actual physical thing. We've got it. We bring it down into this world. So the Rebbe explains in the fourth line. In this medrash is actually paraphrased all three of the chidushim, the revolutions that we mentioned that happened at the giving of the Torah. The revolution in Hashem, in the Jewish people, and in Torah. All three of them are mentioned in this medrash. Because there's a difference between a fragrance and oil itself. In the subject, in the substance themselves. The smell of an oil, the fragrance, is just the array, an expression, an extension of it. It's not the thing itself, but it is that which comes off it. Right? When you smell something, what are you smelling? You're not smelling it, you're smelling something that exudes from it. Not the essence of it, but that which is coming off it. So, that difference between oil itself as opposed to the fragrance of the oil is the same difference between Torah and mitzvahs as they're given in Matan Torah as compared to before, as far as the one who gave the Torah and commanded the mitzvahs. Meaning, the Torah the Torah as it is on its own, the wisdom of Hashem, before it's come down into this world, is just a ha'ara, just a ray, just a whiff, a smell. The real concept of Torah and Hashem being one happened in Matan Torah. The essence of Torah was only revealed at Matan Torah. The essence of Hashem revealed in the Torah at Matan Torah. So too by mitzvahs, at the giving of the Torah, the essence of Hashem was expressed in the mitzvahs. What does this mean? That before the giving of the Torah existed. The Torah existed in the heavenly realms. The Torah already existed before the creation of the world. However, what was that Torah? The Torah was Hashem's wisdom. And wisdom is just a ray, is just an expression, is just one element. It's not Hashem's very self, it's just one expression. When Hashem gave the Torah at Mount Sinai, He put Himself in the Torah, so it meant the Torah became synonymous with Him. That the Torah is not just His wisdom, one element, one feature of Him, but He actually invested His very self in the Torah. That happened in Matan Torah. It wasn't around before. So now, after the giving of the Torah, when we learn Torah, indeed it's wisdom that we're learning. It's Hashem's wisdom we're learning, but it's Hashem's wisdom as He's one with that wisdom. That He has put Himself in that wisdom. So when you're studying a piece of Torah, it's a subject, it's a topic, it's something that you try to understand with your mind. But what is within what you're understanding is Hashem Himself. Like it says in Tanya that when you hug a king, even though he's wearing many layers of clothing, but he is in it. It's him you're hugging, not his clothing. So too, when you learn Torah, even though it's Hashem as He's enclosed in wisdom, but it's Him. It's Him underneath all of that. That's only after the giving of the Torah. Before the giving of the Torah wasn't like that. So that is like oil compared to a fragrance. But before the Torah was given, it was like a fragrance. They did learn Torah before the Torah was given, but it was like experiencing a fragrance of Hashem's self, not His very self. Whereas afterwards, it's like getting the oil, which is the essence, the thing itself. So, the second paragraph there on Resh Ayin Zayin. Another difference between the fragrance of oil and the oil itself is when you sniff oil, when you smell the fragrance of an oil, a nice smelling oil, so nothing is taken away from the oil by you smelling it. You can have a jar of sweet smelling oil, a perfume or whatever it is, and you can smell it, another person can smell it, and as many people you want can smell it, and there's not going to run out of smell because lots of people smelt it. You're not taking away anything from the oil. However, oil itself, if you take a bit of the oil to put in your salad, so then you'll run out of oil eventually. There is a limit to how much oil is going to be, and if everyone takes a little bit of oil, the oil will actually run out. It's not where it was before. Smell is not like that. If I smell the oil, it's still where it was. I haven't taken anything away. If I take a bit of the oil, it will be gone from where it was. Like it says in the Medrash, Shemen turak shmecha ka'adam shemorik mikli kli. That it says that the oil is emptied out from one vessel to another. When you pour oil from one vessel to another, it's not in where in the original vessel. It's moved to the next vessel. So what does that symbolize? The idea that when you smell something, it remains where it was. Whereas when you pour the oil, it goes from one kli to another. It doesn't remain where it was originally. So in the nimshal, the metaphor is speaking about this. When the Torah was given down here at Mount Torah to us, something was taken away from the higher realms. The power to decide halacha was removed from the heavens and given to the earth. The Torah loy b'shamayim hi, that from now on, Torah is not in heaven. It's in earth, on the earth. Meaning that before the giving of the Torah, they could learn the Torah down here in this world, but it was like sniffing something where it remains in its original place. You haven't taken anything away. So too, the fact that Avraham Avinu learned Torah didn't take it away from the angels. The Torah was still up in heavens. Just a whiff of Torah came down here. The giving of the Torah was taking the Torah itself and moving it from one place to another. It was no longer in the heavens, it's now down on earth. So it's actually been removed. Now, usually, with a spiritual reality, a spiritual entity, when it's given from one place to another, it still remains in its original place. That's the normal rule of spirituality. Like wisdom, for example. If you give me your wisdom, you don't lose it. It's just added to me. When you share information, you don't lose the information. It's shared with the next person, but you still have it. So one would expect that when Torah was given to people, so that it's not lost from the heavens, it's just now down in the world as well. But no, we find that the angels question, where's the Torah gone? Where is it? And they were unhappy that the Torah has been given to people. Why? What are you losing? What are you losing in heaven if it comes down? Because no, it is actually being lost. The Torah being given to us meant it was being given us to the exclusion of the heavens. It's actually being moved. The center of Torah is now not up there, it's down here. Doesn't mean there's no Torah in heavens, there is. But the center of it, the power to give halachic decisions, psak din, the place where Torah is determined is now in the earth, not in the heavens. It's actually moved. So that's why the Medrash uses this metaphor of a scent as opposed to the oil itself. That before the Torah was given, there was a scent of the Torah in all the worlds. But after the Torah was given, it was like oil that was poured from one vessel to another. It's no longer in heaven, it's now down on earth. And the ability to decide the Torah is not in heaven anymore. It's down here in this world.
But isn't that because the Torah relates to the world, and therefore the Psak Din can only actually be...
You could the heavens could decide what happens down here. Just like the Torah comes from the heavens down to the earth, so too the halacha could come from heaven down to earth. And so when a heavenly voice calls out and says, "This is the halacha," do we listen to it? No. Why not? The heavenly voice can decide what the halacha is down here. No, it has to be we down here decide what the halacha is. Because the Torah has been given to us. It's no longer in the heavens. Loi b'shamayim. Doesn't mean there's no Torah in the heavens. It means that that's not where the Torah is headquartered. It's down here. So the metaphor of the oil as opposed to the fragrance is to say that just like oil runs out when you use it, it goes from one vessel to another, unlike a fragrance that just spreads. So too the Torah was given to us on earth, and it is no longer in heaven. It's our power to decide halacha now. V'oid, fourth line then. V'oid chiluk ben reich l'shemen. Another difference between a fragrance to the oil itself. Da'reich hu holech v'koleh. That eventually, the smell of something runs out eventually, and there's nothing left. When the fragrance runs out, when you smell it and it doesn't smell anymore, there's nothing left, nothing remains behind. Even the enjoyment and the pleasure you get from a smell, once the smell's gone, it's finished. Right? When you smell a nice smell, it's nice for when you're smelling it. When you walk away, you're left with nothing. It doesn't remain with you in any way. The smell is only as good as long as it lasts. But as soon as it's gone, there's no trace of it. There's no remaining benefit from it at all. But something that you eat, such as oil, which is a food, even after you've digested the food, and there's no remnant of the food anymore, but it does remain. There is still an existence of that food. It's just become your blood and your flesh. And it even has an impact on you that after you've eaten the food, the characteristics of the food become your characteristics. It impacts the way you behave. What's he saying here? Again, contrasting the smell of oil to oil itself. The smell of something, its enjoyment, its pleasure, its benefit is only while you're smelling it. As it's there. As soon as the smell is gone, or you've gone away from the smell, it doesn't have any impact on you. There's no remnant of it. It's not digested. That's why it says in the notes down the bottom that's why there's no bracha achrona for smell. That we make a blessing before smelling something because you're about to benefit, enjoy something in the world. You make a bracha. But why don't we make an after bracha after smelling something? Because what's the after bracha? The after bracha is thanking Hashem for the benefit that I've now ingested, that I continue to have from this thing that I've consumed. So when you eat something, you bless first on the enjoyment you're about to have, and then you make an after blessing on the nourishment that you've received from the food, because the food has become a part of you. That's eating something. That's smelling something. You make a blessing before because you're about to enjoy something in this world. But you don't make a blessing after because there's nothing left. There's nothing there to bless. There's no remnant in you from the smell.
Why don't you make a bracha after you learn Torah then?
Because
it never ends.
That you make a bracha
before.
That's
what it's saying. There's been a physical
impact. You start the day. But there's no point of saying, okay, I'm not learning Torah anymore today. Can't do that.
Yeah. But wouldn't it be following this argument that there was something changed, there was a benefit?
Yeah, that's why you should.
The physical, and that's why you should make an after bracha.
For what?
On learning Torah.
Right, but you can only do that when you finish.
Never finish.
And after bracha is when you finish doing it. You never finished learning Torah.
No, I thought you meant call up.
So.
When you call up, you do the second bracha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the after bracha? Or not really.
Maybe, but not. It's not on learning Torah. But on learning Torah, we don't make after bracha. So, so that's the reason why you don't make an after bracha on smell, because there's no remaining impact on you once the smell is gone, as opposed to eating, like oil, not smelling oil, but eating oil, putting oil in your salad or whatever it is. That oil actually becomes a part of you. Not only becomes a part of you, it affects you, meaning it'll affect your behavior. Because there's a principle, it's quoted from the Ramban, where the Ramban uses this as an explanation for some of the laws of kashrus, that the reason why we can't, for example, eat predators, attacking animals, is because we don't want to consume their characteristics, because the food you eat becomes your character. It impacts the way you are. So if you eat lions and tigers, you become a predator. So oil or any other food that you eat actually not only becomes a part of you, it actually directs you, impacts you, makes you behave in a certain way. You'll behave like the food. So what does this represent? This is another level in this metaphor that the Medrash brings between comparing the smell, the fragrance of before the Matan Torah to the oil of after Matan Torah. Uba nimshul, fourth last line in the paragraph, or nimshul. So what this represents is Sham shacha adei kiyum mitzvahs u'makol shken adei limud Torah da'avos lo nikva ba'olam b'pnimiyosai. That the drawing down of divine energy that happened through the fulfilling of mitzvahs, and certainly through the learning Torah of the forefathers before the Torah was given, did not have a permanent effect in the world and an internal effect. It wasn't absorbed in the world. The spiritual actions of the forefathers did not internally impact the world in a permanent way. Like a fragrance that is there when it's there, but it's gone after it's gone, so too the impact on this world that the forefathers had was a temporary one. It didn't change the physical world completely. It didn't totally become absorbed in the world. So when the forefathers did their mitzvahs and learned their Torah, they became holier. They became closer to Hashem. But the world did not become transformed through that, because the Torah and mitzvahs before Matan Torah didn't have the power to do that. They were like a fragrance that is there when it's there, but it's gone when it's gone. But through learning Torah after the giving of the Torah, and certainly through doing an action of mitzvahs after the Matan Torah, but our Torah mitzvahs actually makes a difference, changes the world in a permanent way and in an internal way, in a way that is internalized, that the world actually changes. When you do a mitzvah with an object, that object is now changed. It's got holiness in it. When you learn Torah, there's more divine energy in the world, and that remains even after you've stopped learning Torah. It still remains. It has a permanent effect on the world. The holiness we draw down now is drawn down completely, like food that is internalized and becomes a part of the body. So too, Torah mitzvahs becomes a part of the world and remains as part of the world. The world is eternally higher and refined as a result of Torah mitzvahs now. Like oil, which is a food, that by eating it becomes a part of you. So we see in this metaphor all three levels that are mentioned in the Chiddush of Matan Torah are denoted by this metaphor. That Hashem put Himself into Torah at Matan Torah. So now it's oil and not a fragrance. It's not just a whiff of Hashem, but Hashem Himself is in the Torah. That the Jewish people have the power to paskin halacha, like oil that's been poured from one kli to another. It's not in where it was before. It's not like a fragrance where it remains where it was, but it's actually been poured. That the Torah is not in heaven; it's now down here on earth. And also the fact that our mitzvahs impact the world, like oil, which is a food which impacts the body, as opposed to a fragrance which disappears after it's run out.
I was going to say, with Bris Milah, it was like a...
Yeah, that was the one mitzvah that the forefathers did that impacted the body.
Yeah.
And that's because Ma'aseh Avisim Labanim, that everything the forefathers did was a precursor for the future. And so there had to be one mitzvah. There had to be something that they did that impacted the world. So Bris Milah was the one. But that was the exception.
Yeah.
And that was the one mitzvah that Hashem gave to Avram. He didn't figure it out himself. Hashem actually gave it to him. So it was given to him similar to the mitzvahs that are given to us. Okay. So, let's continue into Ches. V'yesh loimer. The begirmul inyonim hanal sh'neschadru Matan Torah. Now, out of the three things that we just said that the Matan Torah revolutionized, that it revolutionized Hashem, that He is now given to us in the Torah. It revolutionized the Jewish people, that we are the ones who decide halacha, and revolutionized Torah, that Torah now has the power to impact the world. Out of these three revolutions, which is the greatest? Which is the most dramatic revolution? Which is the one that is the most striking? The fact that Hashem has changed, that He is now given to us. The fact that we have changed, that we can decide halacha. Or the fact that Torah has changed, that it can determine and shape the world. Which is the most dramatic? So hachidush ha'ikrihu sheb'matan Torah nasa hamshachas ha'atzmos b'Torah. The main chidush, the main revolution is that at Matan Torah, the essence of Hashem has been given down in the Torah, the first one. And through that, through the fact that Hashem has given His essence, that causes the other revolutions, that the Torah is now so powerful that it can determine reality, and the people who receive the Torah, which is us, we have the power to decide halacha. The other two revolutions happened because of the first one. Because Hashem put His essence in Torah, so therefore, we who have the Torah have the power to decide halacha, and the Torah, which has Hashem's essence, has the power to determine reality. But the real chidush, the real revolution, is the first one, the fact that Hashem put His essence in the Torah. Why? Why is that such a revolution? Why is that so amazing? The Torah mitzal atzma, the Torah on its own, being that Torah is infinitely higher than the world. Incomparably higher. Torah and the world are incomparable. The world is a physical, finite creation. Torah is the infinite wisdom of Hashem. They're so distant from each other that they're infinitely distant. They don't touch at all. Ein shinu b'dvarim sheba'olam al yedei din Torah. So, as far as the Torah is concerned, there should be no impact on the world through Torah. For Torah to impact the world makes no sense. And so too with mitzvahs. There's no reason why Torah should impact the world. Why? Because Torah and the world are so far apart. The world is so insignificant in the face of Torah that for Torah to change the world is a ridiculous thought. Torah is the divine wisdom, and the world is a physical creation. Why should they touch? Why should they impact each other? It's like the world of thought and the world of physicality. How far are they? Would you expect that by you sitting here and thinking, I'd like a piece of cake, that's your thought, that you really would like a piece of cake, is there any reason to expect that because you thought it, that cake is now going to come closer to you? Because you thought that I want this cake, so something's going to happen? Unless you reach out and grab the cake, it's not going to come to you. Your thought, but I really want it. And thought is very powerful. Thought is a very high faculty. One of the highest faculties of human being is to be able to think. So I'm thinking how I really want a piece of cake. Would you expect that the cake will in any way react to your thought? Of course not. The cake is a physical reality. It reacts to your hand. If you grab it, it does not react to your thought if you think about it. Because the world of thought and the concrete world of a cake are miles apart. They don't touch each other. So to expect a thought to impact a reality is a ridiculous thing. So if that's true about human thought and a piece of cake, which in the end are both part of this world, how much more the wisdom of Hashem, which is Torah, to impact this physical world? To have they're miles apart. Torah is the divine wisdom and the physical world is a limited creation. Why should Torah have any impact on this world? Logically, there's no reason to at all. It makes no sense that wisdom should impact creation. It doesn't work that way.
Mm-hmm. But if you want to talk logic, then the Torah having a whole impact in the world, and
it shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
That Torah the definition of Torah is the divine wisdom. For wisdom to shape a physical reality makes no sense. For a thought to change physicality, there's no correlation between the two. They're miles apart. But v'hakoyach sheba Torah, look at the fourth line at the end. V'hakoyach sheba Torah v'hamitzvah shenitnu matan Torah lifel shina ba'olam. The fact that there is a power in Torah and mitzvahs that were given at the Matan Torah to affect a change in the world, the fact that this is possible, is because Hashem's essence was invested in Torah and mitzvahs at Matan Torah. And through having the essence of Hashem within Torah and mitzvahs, that means that the Torah can affect things that are miles away from it. Because essence is everywhere. Meaning, Torah itself, being Hashem's wisdom, should have no effect on the world. Because it's too far away. It's wisdom, it's lofty, it's high. The world is lowly and physical. They don't meet. There's nothing in common. So there's no reason why wisdom should affect the world, just like there's no reason my thoughts should affect this piece of cake. So too, and even more so, there's no reason why Hashem's thoughts, which is the divine wisdom, should affect the physical world, which are miles apart. That's true in Torah on its own. But at Matan Torah, Hashem put himself in the Torah. Ano nafshi ksaf is Yehovah's. I put my essence into Torah. Essence is a different story, because Hashem's essence is found everywhere. Essence, as we've discussed many times, Hashem's essence is not spiritual. Just like it's not physical, it's not spiritual. It is within all, and is higher than all, and is a part of everything. And so therefore, Hashem's essence can be found in this world as it can be found in the heavens, equally. And so if Hashem's essence is invested in the Torah, if it's the divine essence in the Torah, so then the Torah can affect the physical world. Torah, as it is Hashem's wisdom, can't affect the physical world. Wisdom can't affect concrete worlds. But Hashem's essence is everywhere equally.
So that was before the Torah was even given?
No. Before the Torah was given, it was just his wisdom. It was defined by wisdom. At the giving of the Torah, Hashem put himself in the Torah. It wasn't there before.
Isn't Hashem and the Torah one though? When we say Hashem and the Torah?
It's true, Hashem and the Torah is one. But when did that become revealed at Matan Torah? Before Matan Torah, it was his wisdom. It was one feature. It was one level. But at the giving of the Torah, it says, Ano nafshi ksavas Yehovah's. I've put myself, my essence, into the Torah. It wasn't there before. The power of essence was not in the Torah. So therefore, the fact that Torah can affect the physical reality is not a feature of Torah itself, it's a feature of Hashem's essence that's in the Torah. So by Hashem placing his essence in the Torah, it made the Torah have the power to change the world, to change reality, which it wouldn't have otherwise.
So when did he place his essence in the physical world?
Well, essence is everywhere equally, always. Essence is undefined, so therefore it's not defined by in the spiritual world or the physical. It's everywhere equally. Hashem's essence fills all of existence at all times. But for it to be revealed, its power to be revealed, that's in Torah. Torah has the revealed power of essence. It's all very well to say that the physical world has his essence in it, but it's not apparent. It's not revealed. Torah is a revelation of essence. So therefore, it can affect all levels, including the physical. And then what we're going to see, we'll leave this for next time, is that this essence, by Hashem giving the essence to the Torah can affect the world. But also it means that he gave it to us. He gave the Torah to us. So it means the power of atzmas, of essence, is within the Jewish people. And so if Torah has the power to determine reality, that the Jewish people have the power to determine Torah, to paskin halacha, which means essence was given to us, and that's why we can determine reality, because we have the power of essence in the Torah given to us. How that we'll discuss, Mr. Shem, next time.